What if I told you that your biggest mistake of the day happens before the day even begins? Before your eyes open, before your mind fully wakes, before you even realize you're alive for another sunrise, the mistake has already been made. You don't notice it because it doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels normal. You wake up and thoughts immediately flood in. Uninvited, unfiltered, uncontrollable. Regret from yesterday. Worries about today. Expectations you never asked for. The war starts quietly and you don't even know you stepped onto the battlefield. Every morning, millions of people lose this invisible war. They open their eyes, reach for the same device, scroll through the same noise, and allow strangers, headlines and algorithms to invade their mind before their first conscious breath. They think they're just waking up. But in truth, they're surrendering. You see, the destruction doesn't happen with one big decision. It's not an accident, a failure, or a moment of weakness. It's something far more subtle, the state of your mind before you've chosen it. The Stoics knew this mistake centuries ago. They warned us that the most dangerous enemy lives inside our own thoughts. Marcus Aurelius wrote that other soul becomes dyed with the colour its thoughts. But what if those colours aren't yours? What if every morning, before you even decide who you'll be, the world paints you in its chaos? Its urgency, its fear, its comparison. We talk so much about morning routines, about productivity, about discipline. But the truth is, none of that matters if your first act of the day is unconscious surrender. The real question is not how early you wake up, it's who wakes up, the reactive self or the sovereign one. Pause for a moment and remember your last morning. How long did it take before your thoughts became noise? Before you started replaying arguments, imagining problems, checking notifications that didn't need you? That's the mistake. The one you never notice, the one that feels so harmless, but quietly drains your strength, your focus, your peace. Because every morning is a negotiation. Either you control your mind or the world does. There is no middle ground, and yet day after day we choose the same surrender. We wake up already exhausted, already late, already chasing something we can't name. The first moment that should belong to us belongs to everything but us. The Stoics called this the tragedy of unawareness. Seneca wrote that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. And isn't that what mornings have become? A flood of imagined pain, a rehearsal for anxiety. A quiet, unseen mistake repeated for years, until it becomes who we are. But here's the truth, the day doesn't destroy you, the morning does. And the morning is destroyed by a single thought. The first one you don't control. Have you ever wondered why some mornings feel heavier than others? Why, even before you step out of bed, your mind feels already tired? It's because something invisible has already begun its work, a silent enemy that whispers before you even speak to yourself. And that enemy is reactivity. Before you even realize it, you wake up and check your phone. One notification leads to another. You see a message that reminds you of something unfinished. You scroll past a post that makes you compare your life to someone else's highlight reel. You read a headline that injects fear into your bloodstream. All of it happens before you've even taken your first real breath of the day. And that's how you lose. Quietly. Completely. You don't need chaos outside to ruin your morning. Your own mind can do it perfectly well. The Stoics warned about this centuries ago. They said a man is not disturbed by things but by the view he takes of them. But what happens when that view isn't yours anymore? When every morning thought is borrowed, stolen from the noise of others. And suddenly the smallest act, drinking water, stepping outside, taking a breath, feels like victory. Because it is. Every time you resist the urge to react, you win a battle that most people don't even know exists. The Stoics knew that peace isn't found in the absence of problems, it's found in the mastery of attention. And that mastery begins the moment you stop letting the unseen rule your day. When was the last time you truly woke up? Not your body, but your mind? Most people never do. They rise, but they don't awaken. They move, but they don't see. They exist in a blur of reaction, pulled by habit, ruled by noise, enslaved by momentum. But once in a while, something stops you, a strange stillness, a quiet moment where time seems to pause, and for a second you realize how little of your life is lived with awareness. That's the mirror of stillness, the moment you face yourself before the world gets to you. The Stoics built their entire lives on this moment. Marcus Aurelius didn't begin his morning with action, he began with reflection. He reminded himself that when you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to love. Those words weren't written for comfort. They were written for war. The silent war between chaos and calm, between reaction and control. You see, Stoicism isn't about pretending life is easy. It's about building armor from awareness. And that armor is forged in stillness, in those first few minutes of the day, when the mind is most fragile, most open, most easily shaped. So ask yourself, what shapes you each morning? Is it the noise of the world, or the quiet of your own soul? Most people let the world shape them before they even remember who they are. They let algorithms decide their emotions, headlines decide their fears, and strangers decide their worth. But those who practice the Stoic way choose something radical. They reclaim the first moment. They wake before the world. They breathe before they move. They observe before they react. That's the morning of stillness, the hidden discipline of every truly peaceful person. It's not about fancy routines or perfect schedules. It's about one choice, to meet yourself before you meet the world. When you do this, something powerful happens. You begin to notice the space between thought and action. You start to see that your emotions are not commands. They're merely suggestions. You feel anger arise, but it doesn't control you. You feel fear whisper, but it doesn't move you. You become the watcher of your own mind, calm, centered, awake. And in that awareness lies absolute freedom. The Stoics believe that the greatest victory a human can achieve is over oneself. No empire, no wealth, no recognition compares to the serenity of a man who is not owned by his impulses. And that victory begins every single morning, in silence, in stillness, in solitude. So tomorrow, when you wake, don't reach for your phone. Don't chase the world. Sit up, breathe, face the mirror of stillness, and meet the only person who can truly change your life. Have you ever felt like you're fighting something but you can't quite name it? That tension that follows you from the moment you wake up, the invisible pressure, the sense that you're already behind before the day has even begun. That's not the world against you. That's you against yourself. Every morning begins with a battle between two versions of you. One lives by impulse, quick to react, quick to anger, quick to compare. The other lives by principle, quiet, composed, deliberate. And every day, without realizing it, you choose which one takes control. Most people don't even know this war is happening. They assume that frustration is natural, that anxiety is just a part of modern life, that distraction is harmless. But those who study the Stoics know the truth. Your peace is stolen not by events, but by your reactions to them. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning that he would meet people who are selfish, arrogant, and ungrateful. He didn't do this to complain. He did it to prepare, because he understood that if he wasn't ready, the world would win before the first word was spoken. And that's the lesson modern people have forgotten. The true battlefield isn't your job, your relationships, or your circumstances. It's your mind. The enemy doesn't come with a sword, it comes disguised as thought. The thought that says, you're already late. The thought that says, you're not good enough. The thought that says, you have to prove something today. But Stoicism teaches something far more dangerous to the enemy. Silence. When you refuse to react, you take away its power. When you let the thought pass, you starve it. When you choose calm over chaos, you win, not just the morning, but the entire day. Epictetus said, "And no man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom isn't the absence of struggle. It's the ability to remain still while the storm passes. Picture this, you wake at dawn. You feel the urge to rush, to check, to compare, but you don't. You breathe, you watch, you choose calm. In that small act of defiance, you've already won the first battle. The rest of the day belongs to you. This is the war you never see, and yet it decides everything. Win this battle, and the world can do nothing to you. Lose it, and even the smallest inconvenience will feel like a war. The choice is made every morning, silently within you. What if I told you that the morning never really ends? You think it does, that once the clock hits a certain hour, your day begins. But for the Stoic, morning isn't measured in time, it's measured in awareness. Every moment you awaken to yourself, that is morning, and every moment you lose awareness, that is night. Most people live in an endless night. They move through the hours awake but not aware, alive but not conscious. They react to everything. Words, notifications, emotions, never realizing they are still trapped in the same restless dawn they started in. The mistake that began in the morning never stopped. It simply changed form. That's the tragedy of modern life. We wake up, but we never arrive. We never arrive. The Stoics saw this illusion clearly. They understood that the real dawn begins within the mind, not in the sky. Marcus Aurelius said, "A very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself in your way of thinking." And yet, every morning we seek happiness outside, in news, in plans, in validation. We forget that the sunrise we're searching for is inward. So what happens when you stop chasing? When you stop rushing through mornings as if peace waits at the end of them? You realize that peace was never missing, only your attention was. The morning that never ends is not a punishment. It's a reminder. It reminds you that awareness is a practice, not an event. It doesn't happen once when you wake. It happens every time you choose to notice what's real. You can begin again at noon. You can begin again at midnight. The chance to start over never leaves you. And here lies the secret the Stoics carried to their final breaths. You are never late to peace, only distracted from it. Your morning isn't gone because the sun has risen. It's gone because your mind has wandered. Bring it back. Breathe. Watch your thoughts without judgment. Return to yourself again and again, until awareness becomes your home, not your effort. Because once you master the art of beginning again, you realize something profound. Every moment can be a fresh start. Every breath can be a new morning. And when you live that way, the day no longer controls you. You control the day. What if everything you've ever been searching for was already with you, hidden in the silence you've been avoiding? We chase improvement, discipline, strength, and control, thinking they exist somewhere out there, in the future, in achievement, in perfection. But the Stoics knew better. They understood the greatest transformation doesn't happen through addition, but through removal. You don't need to add more to your life. You need to remove what doesn't serve your peace. The mistake that destroys your morning, the one we've uncovered together, is not about time or schedules or habits. It's about the moment you abandon yourself. When you wake and let noise fill your mind, you hand over the keys to your own freedom. You stop being the author of your day and become a character in someone else's story. But now you've seen the pattern. You've felt the war. You've understood the silence. And that understanding is your awakening. Tomorrow morning, before the noise finds you, pause. Before the world calls your name, breathe. Before you remember who you were yesterday, choose who you will be today. You are not your distractions. You are not your impulses. You are awareness itself, calm, patient, eternal. Every morning you stand at the gates of your mind. Most people leave them open and call the invaders alive. But the Stoic closes them, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Because peace is not something you find, it's something you protect. It's something you protect. And the one who guards it each morning becomes untouchable. So when tomorrow comes, remember, you're not just waking up to another day, you're waking up to yourself. That's the real beginning. That's the Stoic morning that no mistake can destroy.